What if Mega Charizard X was in Gen 1 OU? This would be part of either a 2-part series or a 4-part series. I'm 100% gonna do Mega Charizard Y tomorrow, but if you guys are interested, the next 2 days I may or may not also do Mega Venusaur and Blastoise. But for now, we're starting with Mega Charizard X, the only one that appears in Red and Blue games. Not the ones that you and me played, but he's in Pokemon Origins. And I did the bar doing a replay for it, but I'm just going to show you guys right now that Mega Punch Mega Charizard X against Mewtwo. I'm just going to tell you right now, it is not very good. I don't need to do a calc for it. But yeah, we have the Fire Dragon type, the one that everyone, or at least everyone when you were a kid, thought Charizard should have been. And how good would he be? Because, fire types are historically not the best thing ever in Gen 1, at least not in OU. And then Dragon type is infamous for not really existing. He got no Dragon moves. The only Dragon type is like quad weak to Ice. So combine them together and what do you get? Only one way to find out. Now starting off, I think this is very important to bring this up right now. And that's the fact that Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y, for Generation 1, the Fire type did not resist Ice. Which means that for the Dragon and Fire type, and for the Flying and Fire type, they're weak to both Ice Beam and Blizzard. I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. As you can imagine, that is a big deal. And it means that even though Mega Charizard X, with this Dragon typing, can resist, or not resist, at the very least hit water neutrally, it doesn't really matter execution, minus with Slowbro. Because every single good water type in Gen 1 OU has Ice type moves. Not to mention other Pokemon like Chansey, Snorlax, and Tauros also use Ice type moves. So yeah, as you can imagine, that's going to be an issue. However, with just how good Mega Charizard X's stats are, it might not even matter. Because look at that. You got a 130 in both attack and special. So you just hit as hard as Rhydon. And you just have stronger offenses than Pokemon like Tauros or Starmie. Yeah, that's gonna be a big deal. Especially when you have a base 100 speed. Which not only means that you outspeed the vast majority of the metagame, but means you tie with Zapdos, meaning that you have over a 19% chance to get a crit. And with these high of offenses, that's gonna matter a lot. And other than like that though, how good is Fire and Dragon if it can't, really, do good against Ice types? Or if, water isn't, or taking water neutral isn't as big a deal as you might think. Well, even if, it doesn't really take, water moves, it takes them neutrally, they're fine. But even if, it, gets hit hard by Ice type moves, it definitely appreciates the electric resistance. And that's gonna be the main thing when comparing Charizard X to Y. Since both of them are gonna be weak to Ice, the main thing is gonna be what's gonna be more valuable to you defensively, an electric resistance or an earthquake immunity. Because Charizard Y, it still probably won't be as good defensively. However, an immunity is a much bigger deal than a resistance. So that's something that you guys are just gonna figure on your own. Or at least I'm gonna have to figure out with tomorrow's video. But yeah, other than that, there's also Fire. What does Fire resist in Gen 1 that's relevant? Because there's no Bug or Steel moves. The only Fire move you might see in Generation 1, outside of, your apparently Mega Charizard, is gonna be a Tauros that might run Fire Blast. And is there anything else, or is that it? I guess there's the occasional Moltres, but Moltres is mostly using Fire Spin. It's gonna try to keep Hyper Beam. So I don't know. It might be somewhat common, but not as common as it would be in other generations. Although that is one thing that is kind of useful though. The fact that it does have a quad fire resistance. It's not gonna be the most relevant thing in the world. I would argue that the vast majority of your games that's not gonna come up. But if they're using a Charizard or if they're using Moltres, having a quad weakness, resistance to fire is a big deal. Like, yeah, Fire Spin, it's still gonna be annoying, but even if it's just doing like 2% damage, that's still gonna give you a really good chance at actually winning. Especially with how good Mega Charizard X's defense is. It'll be able to, like, stand up the Moltres. But, other than that, yeah, like, the typing is, like, you have a weakness to Earthquake, which that's gonna be an issue. But, like, even if, like, you didn't have it, you're still just as vulnerable to, like, right on its Rock Slide. So, yeah, it sucks, but what are you gonna do about it? It's Charizard. You already played Charizard knowing that rocks are gonna, like, give it a bad time. So, that's about it with the typing. I would argue that, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, offensively, well, Firewise is... offensively, it's actually not that bad. Like, I know, like, Fire type is infamous for, like, yeah, don't use fire moves in Generation 1. It's pretty bad. And, yeah, defrosting something with, that's, like, frozen, that's not good. However, with 130 special, Fire Blast is a big deal. Keep in mind, even Moltres has a pretty good niche in a tier, because agility plus, like, Fire Blast and Hyper Beam hits really hard. Charizard hits even harder. So, like, what's Moltres at? Let's see here. Moltres is at 125. So just 5, just like a 5 difference in, special. But that can make a difference. And sometimes it could make a big difference. Especially for other Pokemon. And even then, it's still just useful in general. Although, just like with regular Charizard and never use, it's mostly going to be a physical attacker. But unlike regular Charizard, I believe that, like, it's going to use more than just, like, physical moves. Like, obviously, Sword Stance is going to be the main thing. Because, like, what gets Moveset right now? You have Body Slam, counter is probably not that good, same with Double Edge. But you have Earthquake, Fire Blast, Fire Punch, which is useless. Same with Flamethrower, sorta. But you also have, like, Quick Attack? I did not know Charizard knew Quick Attack, and that is just so random. And I'm assuming it's probably useless. But you have, like, Rock Slide, Sword Stance. Thunder Punch is interesting, but I think it's going to be more interesting with Mega Charizard Y. So remember this for tomorrow's video with the 159 special Charizard Y. But yeah, Belly Drum didn't exist, same with Blast Burn, but you also have Hyper Beam. And I think that's it. Although as you see here, there is a lot of other moves you can potentially use. And yeah, it has a lot of good physical and special, but I believe that the physical sets are going to be much better. So personally, I think Body Slam and Earthquake, like, I know Hyper Beam's good, but Mega Charizard X already hits super hard, and with the Sword Stance, like a Body Slam is going to do just about as much as, like, Hyper Beam anyways. So that's why I think it's just good to have Fire Blast as the last one, because not only is it a really strong stab move, but, like, it's a freaking Fire Blast that could potentially burn through like a Snorlax or Tauros. And yes, I know, Burn is kind of not that good in Generation 1, but that's only because it's not because Burn itself is bad. Because just like in any generation, Burn has it halves the attack of, physical attackers, which is a big deal. But you just need to remember that for, for Generation 1, Paralysis, Sleep and Freeze are just ultra broken. But actually look at this here. A 30% chance to burn the target? Like, guys, come on now. Like, if this was in, maybe not Generation 2, because everything, like, rest and sleep talks. But if a 30% chance to burn was in Generation 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., that would be a big deal. You know for a fact that a chance to burn that consistently would break the meta. Just imagine, like, Generation 3, Charizard's already pretty good there. But just imagine if you just use a Fire Blast and you just have a 30% chance to burn a Salamence or Tyranitar. That would, what do you do against that? You wouldn't have anything to do against that. It would be overpowered. So, like, think of Burn in Generation 1 as, like, a high B tier, maybe A tier, status. And then Paralysis is, like, an S tier ability. Sleep is, like a triple S tier. And then Freeze is just, like, a quadruple, maybe even quintuple, just triple, like, S tier. Broken ability that shouldn't exist. Burn is a 30% chance to burn against a Tauros, Rhydon, Snorlax, even other Pokemon like Zapdos that also have like Drill Peck. It's really good. It means that for a lot of these Pokemon, you can just beat them more consistently. Granted, you might still lose to Rhydon either way, but if that Rhydon's burned, it's probably not gonna do much anyways. So like, do not underestimate just how valuable that is on Mega Charizard X. And yes, the frosting something would kind of suck, but even then, like, not only is a crit Fire Blast gonna hurt everything regardless, but like, let's say like a Chansey is frozen, you switch into Chansey, it gets unfrosted, but you already take the Fire Blast. What's Chansey gonna do anyways? Now you just have a chance to just go for your physical moves, and Chansey's still in danger. So like, yeah, like, Freeze kind of gets a bit of a nerf, but also I'd also argue that's a good thing. Let's be real here. Like, would you guys rather just having no good fire types and then, just Freeze just be a guaranteed KO? Like, at least here, like, you have a good move, which could be used against you, but also that means you can use Fire Blast, against your opponent as well. So I'd say that's pretty good. And I think this moveset's pretty good as well. Maybe replace something with Rock Slide or Hyper Beam if you really feel like it. Although I feel like this right here is the perfect moveset for it. So how does Mega Charizard X do against the other Pokemon in the meta? Let's find out together, shall we? We always gotta start off with the boy, Tauros. Earthquake does about like little less than half. And then Fire Blast does half your health. And also there, having to rely on Blizzard. It does like a little bit more. But yeah, this matchup can go either way. But that Tauros, it has this attack, it's cut in half. It's not really going to do much other than try to hit something with Blizzard. And Fire Blast is 2 hit KOs. And that's another good reason for having Fire Blast. Because, just having like being a mixed attacker means you just have more options with fighting something. Tauros' physical defense at 95 is much higher than its special of 70. So it's way easier just to, hit through Tauros with a strong Fire Blast rather than using, like Earthquake, and I need to set up a Sword Stance. And the same can sort of be said for Snorlax. Now first, I just want to check and see how much, the standard moves do. Earthquake and Body Slam don't do that much of Snorlax without Sword Stance, but that isn't that surprising. And then, freaking, Fire Blast does like 40%, which is, as you can imagine, is like pretty good. And another good example of what I'm talking about. We also have like Sword Stance Charizard. And with Sword Stance, it can, very much, threaten Snorlax, with physical attacks. And with Amnesia, Fire Blast is less, but it's also where, Sword Stance is more as well. So, it depends on the... So, with the Snorlax, it can kind of make or break. But at the same time, like, Charizard has the tools where, even if you don't know what Snorlax set it is, you can adapt to it very easily. Especially if both of you are just at full HP. If you don't know what it is, even if it's Amnesia Snorlax, Fire Blast does so much damage. And yeah, Ice Beam with Amnesia is also a big problem. But also, I would argue, like, this is even, like, could go either way. I would argue this is just a match that Snorlax, or Charizard has a good matchup in. Because even with, like, Amnesia Lax, a lot of things need to go right in order for it to do good. Because, like, with this one here, you have Reflect and Amnesia up. But also, like, Charizard didn't even, like, use Sword Stance until, like, pretty late into, like, the replay. And, like, Fire Blast does at least 40, at the beginning. And that's not even accounting for crits, or burns or anything. So, like, Yeah, like maybe like the 2 like amnesias that could be a threat. 1 would hurt, and like a freeze obviously it kind of sucks. But it's going to take a lot of damage before then. And I don't think it's going to be worth it. I don't think your Snorlax is going to risk, standing up against a Charizard X. It's just not worth it. And if it's already set up, then maybe, like, you can say it's a good matchup against Charizard. But at that point, like, if your Snorlax has, like, a Reflect and, like, max, special, it's just after everything already. So it doesn't really count. And against Chansey here, yeah, to no one's surprise, it can very easily threaten Chansey, physically. But Chansey also turns with Ice Beam. It looks like a 3-hit KO without a crit. So, unlike Snorlax, this one definitely could go either way. And Chansey can, absorb, like Charizard's Fire Blast, which kind of sucks because of how low power points it has. But other than that, like, yeah, like, both of them hate each other, both of them can threaten each other. And I'm actually not sure if Chansey bothers going for paralysis or not. And no, it's kind of interesting. You can let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it. Meanwhile, Body Slam does a lot of Alakazam, and an Earthquake just does as much. I'm not sure the crit mattered there. Even if it didn't, Charizard just goes for what, like a Sword Stance and an Earthquake. I highly doubt Alakazam survives that. So a pretty good matchup. And we're already having to refresh. That's nice. Alright. So next one, we got Yster, an Ice type that does not resist fire and has relatively well special. Fire Blast does so much damage. Clamp is annoying, but you're faster. And even if, like, look at that. Charizard can survive at least 1 Blizzard as well as a Clamp. This match can go either way, but Yster kind of needs to get some chip damage on Charizard. Without a crit, you don't one-shot it. And Charizard has a much better chance of one-shotting with a Fire Blast. And even if it doesn't one-shot, it's probably going to get a burn. So that's chip damage, which makes your clamps even less effective. So yeah, kind of surprising. But not as surprising as this. Yeah, that Executor just got one-shotted. I think you're starting to understand this the sheer power of just how much Fire Blast actually does. How much is it without a crit, though? Oh, this is the wrong replay. I guess I forgot to... Or wait, is this it? Might have gotten the wrong replay. Okay, yeah, I don't have it. But as you see there, just a regular Fire Blast can one-shot Jinx. That's nice. But also, so since I don't have the replay here, I'm just letting you know right now. A non-crit Fire Blast does 77% damage to Executor. Executor is not risking a Sweet Powder. And even if it gets it off, it's getting revenge killed. Charizard X has a great matchup against Executor. And even though I haven't done research for it yet, it also makes me really excited for when I do Charizard Y tomorrow. Because if that's how much just a Fire Blast from Charizard X does, a 159 special Fire Blast from Charizard Y, I'm assuming it's gonna one-hit KO Executor without a crit. Maybe even one-hit KO something like Yster, which as you imagine can be a big deal. Now Gengar here, it doesn't really want to risk like Hypnosis. Earthquake doesn't kill, but with a crit it probably will. And also, with just red HP, it can't do anything other than exploding in the first place. And Charizard X can tank its Psychic pretty well. It obviously would resist, Thunderbolt, and then Nightshade is just a set damage move. So yeah, good job for Charizard. And also, Jinx, just one-shots. So that's also the interesting thing. Even though it's weak to Ice, against actual Ice types, it doesn't really struggle that much. It mostly struggles against stuff that has Ice coverage. And then Rhydon, Earthquake almost does half damage. You really hate to see it. Fire Blast does a decent amount for being a resistant move. So with a crit or with a burn, you can definitely take on the Rhydon. But I'm not willing to put in Cuckoo either way. Although, if you get a Sword Stance off, you 100% can do like a lot of damage to it, like the vast majority of damage to the Rhydon, meaning you can each revenge kill it. So even though Rhydon, is very physically tanky, it doesn't just like, go against Charizard X without losing anything. It's going to take significant damage, which makes it less effective as a, like a win condition. And against Slowbro, like it has Surf, and yes, it technically can use Blizzard or Ice Beam, but I'm telling you right now, Slowbro is not going to use that Execution. It doesn't matter if you have Garchomp or Landorus in the meta. No matter what, Surf is always going to be the best thing. And with Surf, even with 2 Amnesias, Charizard X can easily threaten Slowbro and take it out, which is pretty good. Although with Paralysis is not the best thing in the world, so maybe Slowbro should be put in Cuckoo either way. I don't remember if I put it there or not. I'll probably will. But against Starmie, this is by far Charizard X's worst matchup, and other than like Rhydon. But even then, it's not the worst thing in the world. Blizzard 2-hit KOs you, which is bad. But you also threaten Starmie with, a powerful Sword Stance boosted Body Slam, which could definitely give you like a chance to win. But also in Execution, that's not gonna happen. They're not gonna bother like paralyzing you. Just 2 Blizzards and you're dead. But if they don't have Blizzard, and instead they use something like Thunderbolt, Psychic, Surf, it wouldn't be that popular. Especially with Charizard X in the meta, I think that would just kind of guarantee that like Blizzard becomes like a must-have. But if it doesn't, Charizard does significantly better, which you gotta hope to see it. And last but not least, we have Zapdos, and obviously, Dragon type very useful here. The most Zapdos can do is paralyze you, then go for a Drill Peck, and it's still a freaking Zapdos. So, like, it's going to get crits, it's going to do a lot of damage, but for the most part, you just take this pretty easily. Which even, even Dragonite can't do, since Dragonite only takes electric moves, neutrally. So being able to take a big threat like that, as you can imagine, is pretty good. You, still are pretty jacked up, and you, probably get easily revenge killed. But Zapdos can't be used as a win condition anymore if you do that. So I say it's a fair trade. And yeah, we'll put you in Cuckoo either way. But yeah, here is the viability. As you can see, it's pretty good. Maybe you disagree with Eggy being in great matchups because Sleep Powder's still a big deal. But the way I see it, it doesn't matter if Eggy gets Sleep Powder off or not. But just a single Fire Blast, Eggy kind of becomes useless. And maybe Cloyster should go in good matchups. And I'll just keep in Cuckoo either way, just because Blizzard is a big threat. But yeah, here it is. I actually would argue that Charizard X did better than I thought. Mostly because Fire Blast did much better than I thought. Because, I thought it would just be, maybe something you would begrudgingly use for, Cloyster and Executor. But, no. It just on its own, it's just a really, damn good move. Which is surprising. But, maybe that's the reason why Burn is, not seen as a very good status in Gen 1. Just because there just isn't a good enough fire type to really just show its true potential. You have Moltres, but Moltres more so is just a revenge killer. And also prefers for everything to be paralyzed. So it's not a very good, example of just the full potential of Fire Blast. But Mega Charizard X is. And the Mega Charizard X is a very good example of how good Fire Blast is. Tomorrow, when I do Charizard Y, it's going to be even better. So I am very excited for the Charizard Y with an even stronger Fire Blast that also has electric coverage. It's going to be interesting. And I think it's going to be pretty good. And at first I was leaning towards Mega Charizard X being better. Because, more versatility with its moveset. It has, its moves, Sword Stance, Body Slam, Earthquake, I imagine would have done a better job at handling its weaknesses. But Mega Charizard Y has has a debatably better coverage move in Thunder Punch. But more importantly, if it just has just way more immediate damage with 159 special Fire Blast, I genuinely do not know which one of them is going to end up being better. I think it's going to be very close, and I think that just makes for much better content. So, you can make your guesses in the comments. You can try predicting right now which one you think is going to be better between X or Y. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. And let me know if you want us to make a Venusaur or make a Blastoise as well. And also what other videos you'd like to see. I'm always listening to your suggestions, and I have a lot of fun making them. I actually especially have fun making the Mega videos, not gonna lie. But that's about it. Thank you all for watching. This is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.